Hi, everybody. I'm Mel Doerr, the Aloha shirt psychic. I'm back from Italia, and I've got Linda Grindel in the house. Hi, Miss G.
Hi, honey. How are you? I'm glad you're back and you made it in one piece.
I'm coming down with something, but
I could tell on your voice when you called me when you got back. Your voice was grovelly. I said, "Oh, he's got a cold or something."
yeah, something's going on,
But you still came on this because I had your LinkedIn come through, so I didn't want to bug you. I thought, well, he's probably resting or he probably just doesn't. But normally you would say to me, Linda, I feel like crap.
yeah,
Let's reschedule.
for some reason it didn't go through the first time, but it went through this time, so
Yeah.
that's good. Anyway, so I did not know this, but before, just a little infomercial. I have openings on my Rhine River tour, and I got an Africa tour for June the 20th of next year. Only 20 people. So if you're interested, call me 847-590-5411. I know some people called, but I was gone. So I'll get back to you all this week. So anyway.
So is that going to be on the bottom because you're hosting this event? Is that going to be in the instructions down below?
I'll put it in there. Anyway, so Linda, you just told me about Putin. I haven't heard.
I'm getting all kinds of info from different people. The UK put out a thing that Putin had a heart attack last night and had to be revived.
Wow.
We shouldn't wish bad on other people, but please let it be true. Please let it be true.
Well, I'm intuiting that it's true.
I do too. Now, I've heard he was dead and everything, and I didn't feel that to be true. But I do feel that he's in fact, I just told somebody recently, I felt it like he was at the end, like he's coming to an end, which will put a lot of relief on a lot of people.
Oh my God. I just pulled a card.
Yeah.
And I got the 10 of clubs, which means sickness, and if not careful, death.
Let me look.
His vibes aren't looking too good.
Vladimir Putin, did he have a heart attack Sunday night?
Yeah.
Yes or no? It's saying yes.
And I'm asking,
is Vladimir Putin getting ready to cross from this plane? Big yes. Okay, hold on.
okay.
Will it happen by the end of this month? No. Will it happen in November? No. Will it happen in December? Yes.
I'm seeing the number 10. So it could be 10 days, 10 weeks. I don't know, but it could be the 10th of the month.
Could be the 10th of the month.
But
wouldn't it be a nice Christmas present? I mean,
Thanksgiving present, whatever.
Holy cow, my friend. I can't believe it.
I asked my guides, and they, I can do medical intuition as well, but and you being a nurse, you can appreciate it. But I see a lot of damage to the left ventricle of his heart and to the back anterior wall, which is the pumping. Obviously, he's got coronary artery disease, but I don't know if they're doing like bypass or whatever.
Was this amplified from because they said he has cancer, and I believe it, from the medication he's been taking to assist with his health?
I hear the answer is yes. It was exacerbated by that. But I'm seeing that there's blockages in the arteries, and he threw a clot of some kind. So I'm just thinking, though, when I hook into him, my thoughts are like on a merry-go-round, and I can't catch a thought.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if he had a small stroke as well, or some brain damage because he was out for so long. There's something not right. And we've been saying for a long time that we didn't see a long life for him. So here we are.
Oh, I definitely saw his ending. Bombshell Daily. Putin, I'm seeing reports here that Vladimir Putin allegedly collapsed on the floor of his private apartment and had to be resuscitated by security.
I'm hearing it was a heart attack. Now, they might deny it, but it was a heart attack. He's not going to be around long. You're right.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Only thing is, I just don't want them to make him a martyr,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see Trump around for a long while either.
Well, our friend, what's her name? our friend Kim at Intuitive View.
Yes.
Don't forget, I'm leaving for Utah
Oh, that's right.
to go
When
up for
do you
that
get back?
gig. I'm looking forward to it. I get to see Dennis and Julie and everybody, Kim and Debbie. She's a kick. She's so funny.
That's Debbie is
And
the spirit, right?
yeah, and Freebird, yeah. And I get to see Andrea. I've never met her. And I'm gonna see our friend Kevin again.
Kevin Lewis.
Kevin Lewis.
Oh, he's gonna be at Freebird.
Uh-huh.
Yay. um,
So listen, I'm getting a lot of people asking me about, are we going to do Chicago? My friends
yes,
in Florida.
I've
But
already
yeah,
I've been downtown. I've got the venue, and I'm gonna go. I mean, all we got to come up with is the date.
awesome. I love it, my friend. That's
So,
great.
tell Debbie and Kim I said hello, and
I
Kevin.
will, and I'll tell. Oh, Kevin wrote me and said, so what's your flight, getting up? So I sent him a copy of my flight. He says, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I said, yeah, I'm looking forward too. I says, but just don't get on my nerves.
Are you going to lecture? Are you going to read? What are you going to
I'm
do?
supposed to talk for
Oh,
2 hours. Are you kidding? I'm not reading, really. I'm just gonna talk. Are you kidding? Every one of those people will be knocked out, sound asleep by the time I get done.
I don't think so. You're pretty good.
I saw Molly Shannon from Saturday Night Live this past week, and
And
I also saw Rachel Maddow too.
how was that?
It was fantastic, and I'm sending you a book, and I hope you have the time to. Do you read books or do you like audio better?
Either or.
This book blew my mind because I have all her books, but this one in particular is fantastic. So I'm not going to give you any more.
Okay,
I just want you to know, expect the book.
I'll take a look at it.
I'm
So
spending a lot of money sending it to, Sterling and everybody. I want everybody to have it.
so everybody,
She gave us a hard copy for ourselves. 2,700 people in that audience, and everybody had a hard copy. And the lady that introduced her owns a bookstore, Copperfield or something, in
wow,
San Fran, or maybe in Larkspur. And she said, she bought it from her. So, she paid a good price.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Glad you went. Good. Anyway, and I'm glad you're going to Utah, and that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Is Kevin going to read, or what's he going to do?
I think I don't know. I'm not quite sure what he's doing.
Hi, Kevin.
He had a good time at Sue's thing too.
Oh, good.
I
Yeah.
asked him, how was it? I said, is she, because, we got to meet her up at
Right.
Sedona. She's so funny.
I know. I love her. She's
So apparently she was still moving, shaking and moving. She did the whole gig. She was good.
no, I was in Italy when they were here. Otherwise, I would have gone to see them, but I was in Italy. So
Right. And also, there was something that I didn't go to. I can't remember, but I think it worked out because I had the breast surgery. By the way, I'm doing real good with that too.
oh, good. Yay. I knew you would.
The guys that pick up my boxes, they charge me $100. It's worth it, because rather than have my kids break down boxes and stuff, and I have a lot of boxes. So they come twice a month and they cut it down, and they were like surprised. Oh my God, you had your surgery. You'd never know. You look just like your same thing.
Yeah. I was out of commission for a while. I was in Italy. So
Right.
the weather there was amazing. The food was amazing. Somebody asked what was my favorite food. It all was.
Those flowers you sent me lasted forever.
I got the thank you notes. So that was so sweet. I'm glad you liked them. They were
Yeah.
to make you feel better.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I always send.
And Mark told me to tell you hi too.
Who?
Mark Rhodes.
Oh, hi, Mark. How's he doing?
And his friend that took you guys on a tour?
Yes.
She was at the Rachel event.
Wow.
Her and her wife stopped me. And I was like, oh my God. And I had to tell her that you guys had the best time.
She was amazing. Was it in San Francisco, the Rachel?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It was at the Golden Gate Theater.
Good.
And by the way, the homeless are back on track.
Oh, I know San
Tons of
Francisco is
homeless. It's so
notorious for the
sad.
homeless. It's
Yeah.
really sad. Well, I'm glad you got to see my gal Rachel. But anyway,
She
so
is really, she kept the room dark because I know what audiences are like. And when it's that dark, it's really hard to see any face. And I think she didn't want to see faces. I think she feels more comfortable that way. She's very non-pretentious. I would even call her a bit shy, but she is a genius.
well, she's a genius. I think she's used to looking at television cameras. And when I used to ice skate years ago, and we would do, ice shows for the park district and stuff, when the house is dark, when the spotlights are on you, you can't see
You
anything.
can't see nothing. Yeah, especially when I did stand up, when
You
the
just
lights were on me. Probably better because I could be funny or I wasn't reacting to people
exactly. You just
like
kind of
this.
the energy of the audience. Like when they were asleep. I don't think they would be asleep for you, dear. Okay, I've got some questions, so shall we get
Oh,
started?
yes, yes. Let's indulge, my
The
friend.
Putin thing, I guess the question on everybody's mind is this whole Israel thing, and some people want to know if it's going to lead to spillover more conflicts to more countries in the Middle East, or
I know they're afraid of that.
yeah, in a world
The
war.
United States is afraid of it. They're really thinking this is they might have to fight Iran. That's what I heard this morning on the news.
That's exactly what I'm feeling too. And we all know that Putin was behind probably the whole Hamas thing and all of that stuff, but
Well, I think he's a goner. I really do. It's coming up, or he could even be in a comatose on life support for a little while. But I'm feeling he's pert near a goner. But I always saw him running, so I always thought he was escaping.
well, maybe that's why I couldn't pick up that thought. Remember earlier on when I said when I try to tune into him, I'm like on a merry-go-round. So he's not going to be around long. But let's just hope that when he's gone, that somebody worse than him. I mean, let's hope that somebody doesn't come in that's worse than him.
They may try that, but I saw a takeover. I see 2 takeovers, and then they'll get people in there that Russia has its own personality. It kind of likes to be told what to do.
Well, they were like 70 or 80 years under communism. So, but I still see them going more democratic at some point.
I see them working with other nations and not being, but did you see the other good news today?
No.
Turkey has decided to let Sweden come into NATO. Remember they were blocking it? They said yes.
My guys always told me, and my intuition told me that Sweden would be in NATO. And so when Turkey was blocking it, I thought that's not going to last long. So, and didn't Finland want to get in too? Or I think they're already in or something.
Or maybe it is Finland and I've got the wrong nation, but I just know they were blocking somebody and they said yes.
Somebody's just texting me. I had saw Turkey giving it, so I had seen Turkey giving it, I should say. So, yeah. Good. So much for Putin say, nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
He'd go nuclear if they join NATO. The Middle East thing has me worried, but I don't see it leading to a full out world war. How about you? What do you see?
I don't see World War III. I never have.
Okay, here we go. Mariah asked, will plastic water bottles ever be banned for the environment, sea life, and shores? What do you think?
Okay, hold on 1 second. I found it. Turkey has officially signed agreement allowing Sweden into NATO.
Sweden. Okay, good. Because my guys had told me Sweden would be in NATO. So, and you'd said the same thing. So here we are.
So I've been reading on this god awful, horrible thing that's going on. I know Biden is on Netanyahu like flies to you know what. He's telling them to stand down right now because they want to get supplies in there to help these poor children who are starving, drinking bad water. This one guy says, I have a whole truck here full of chlorine tabs and fresh water and, this and that. And he just can't get it in there. They're not giving him any fuel. Netanyahu, it was terrible what happened. I understand about wanting to wipe out Hamas. I totally understand that. But Hezbollah or whatever they are, they're already shooting at them, at Israel. But
Well,
we've got warships on the side there. If
the whole,
Putin is really going down, let's say he really is sick and he's not able to give, and he's an authoritarian, so you can't, as long as he's alive, he probably won't let you make any decisions. I see things coming to a stalemate. I even see Iran being stuck.
well, I think, behind the scenes, Putin was behind a lot of it, or, with the whole
Oh
thing.
yeah, because when North Korea came to visit him, he brought a bunch of rockets and stuff.
Correct, correct. And a lot of drones and things like that. However, well, twofold. Number one, what I was going to say is at some point I see Kim Jong-un in Korea, that whole regime being overturned. Thank goodness. It's going to take a while. I mean, it might take 5 to 10 years, but it will happen.
Yeah.
And at
So
some
the family won't keep going in there being cruel like they are.
they might try, but at some point I see a unified Korea. I mean, I had said that about Germany years ago in the 80s. I saw the Berlin Wall falling down, and people thought I was crazy. And I said this in the early 80s, and look what happened. So at some point, I foresee my guides tell me a unified Korea. It'll take a while, but it'll get there.
Right.
The other thing is with the whole Hamas thing, that whole thing had been planned for a very long time.
They said at least 2 years. And by the way, the little booklets they had of what to do as going in and doing all that, those booklets were the Russian.
Right.
It's how the Russians hit Ukraine.
There you go.
Very cruel and mean. In fact, when they landed in that peace festival, they got so caught up in raping the women,
right,
that they didn't get to end to kill as many. They had plans to kill way more.
Right. And I think they had a plan for a long time because they knew Israel would retaliate, and they wanted to create chaos and anarchy. Hamas did because, they figured that they could destabilize the whole Middle East, and that would give them power. And that's exactly
right.
And I'm telling you, Putin was behind it, hook, line, and sinker, or at least he supported them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you who else is going to fall too. And you said this, and I had said this. Our guide, well, my guide showed me, and I'm sure yours did too, about Iran. The women, the way they're treating women and things like that. The people, there's going to be another internal.
Well, we might have a skirmish with them. I'm telling you, they're going to do something stupid. And if a block of them get wiped out because they did something towards one of our naval ships or whatever. Remember, I kept seeing the women coming out from underneath from tunnels and just taking over.
That's what I was going to say. The women will start protesting more and more and more. And I see them getting rid of that theocracy in Iran and coming back to democracy at some point.
I see Afghanistan women doing the same.
Yeah, the women are going to stand up in Iran. They're tired of it. And so, it'll be the end to the religious police and the Ayatollahs running things and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think it's going to be a revolution commensurate with what happened during the Carter years.
Biden's numbers are going up too. People really liked his speech. And they really are 70% of Americans are for helping Israel. And I understand Biden saying, with 9/11, we made mistakes like that Iraqi thing that we did it was based on fake news, thanks to Cheney. But anyway,
Iraq was a huge mess, because here's the deal. When Iraq was fighting with Iran, Iraq won. And Saddam Hussein was an animal, don't get me wrong. But there's one thing he did do, and that was that he kept the Middle East. He kept the Middle East stabilized. And when they took him out, it destabilized the entire Middle East.
But didn't he take over a state, though? Didn't he go in and...
Saddam Hussein was the head of Iraq. Okay,
but didn't he also take over something else? There was another.
He was fighting with Iran for a long time, and yeah. I think he won that, but they kind of, I don't know how they settled it, but a lot of people said, a lot of people, who were economists and a lot of people who watch world events said taking him out is a huge mistake because it at least, everybody was afraid of him and it kept some sort of stability in the Middle East. I do not agree with the man. He was an animal,
Right.
but, and I still think
There was no weapons of mass destruction.
there was no weapons of mass destruction. That was all total BS. So,
And the United States is known to, did you know that the United States went in and put a virus in the nuclear systems of Iran and literally melted them right before their eyes? They didn't know what had happened. Somehow we were able to get in there and put a virus in there and totally, and I think we assassinate a bunch of their nuclear scientists.
and everybody knew, I mean, that Iraq had absolutely nothing to do with 911. Pakistan was the one was harboring a lot of the terrorists, and so was Syria. But was it Syria or was it
Egypt, I thought.
No, it was another country. I can't think
the main guy the first one,
Saudi
the one whose face was from Egypt.
Right. So, the weapons of mass destruction thing, and like George Bush, well, I'm going to smoke them out like bandits. I'm going to go after them because they tried to kill my daddy. Oh, okay. Well, not a reason to invade. It was
the other thing is the Bush administration, because when his numbers started to fall, they started to go up, and the our recon or whatever. What is that number that tells you if the United States is in trouble? It goes from orange or red or
DEFCON.
Well, they up it just to scare people. Yeah,
of course they did. It was
scary.
scary.
And finally people caught on and said, wait a second, why is it every time Bush numbers drop, are you bringing that color up? And then they stopped it.
Yeah, it was wag the dog. There was a saying when he was president. It was how did I say it? Under the McCarthy years, supposedly there was a communist behind every rock. And under George W.'s years, there was a terrorist threat behind every bush.
Right.
They manufactured that stuff,
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a lot of people here that are questioning about southern states, eastern states turning red, and they're worried. And I don't necessarily see that. I
got to tell you something, Rachel Maddow and her book, and it was an aha moment for me because I'd been getting this feeling. But she talks about, in the 1930s, there was like 12 congressmen. One congressman even got the DOJ prosecutor fired because he was looking into them trying to change this nation into a communist nation, into a Nazi, they were white supremacists and stuff. And this guy thought he was the cat's meow. But what happened is they had a vote in between, and these guys 24 years in, they thought they had it in like Flynn. They were voted out by the American people. Shock and awe. That's what I'm getting coming up for 24. Shock and awe. They think they got it all in the bag. Listen, you know what my sister told me the other day? Biden just raised $77 million, way more than Trump. And she said, that's all I got to know.
Right, exactly. So here's a good question. Soulshine 3288 says Virginia has purged a lot of people from their voter rolls, and authorities say they won't be able to fix it before the 2024 elections. How will this affect the election in Virginia? What will be the outcome?
Well, Virginia, I still see it staying red. There's some who are going to stay red. But even, I think Sterling said he thinks Texas might take a turn.
I think Texas will, and at some point they're not going to be successful in Virginia. And I don't know, they might be able to.
But they can't take your vote away. Every person gets a vote. And also you forget the millions and millions of 18-year-olds that are about ready to register for next year.
Well, here's the deal. I see it, whatever they're doing in Virginia going to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to say, as much as I don't like some of the justices on there now, that you cannot suppress people's right to vote.
Yeah, if every vote counts, the blue will win.
And I'll tell you who else is going to be in trouble is Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Oh, what did you get on her?
Oh, when I heard her talk about, she's doing this whole thing with women and how woke is trying to change.
And let's get your children out there to work.
Yeah, and how woke is trying to take away, femininity and all that stuff. And she's talking from a podium that she wasted $20,000 for.
She didn't buy, no, she never bought the podium.
Right, or whatever she did.
Used as an excuse. She
Right.
used the money for something else, like $19,000 for something else.
Well, I see her under indictment at some point. I mean, she was Trump's press secretary. I mean, she lies
She acts like him. She goes and you're not supposed to use woke language. And by the way, the Satan is just now approving that in Florida, you can't sue an insurance agency. You can't sue. He's got somebody in the system that's saying you can't sue. They are working so pro whatever they want. All that'll get turned around though, by the way.
Well,
nobody wants him as president, not what he's doing.
Well, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she's banned those words, like certain words from state documents, and doesn't want people to say them. That's going to go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court's going to say you cannot stop people's freedom of speech as long as it's not
right. Even pregnant woman, you can't say that.
No, you can't. So she's going to lose on that front. As far as DeSantis in Florida, doing something with insurance companies, that's going to go to the Supreme Court. And a lot of what he's done is going to be undone. I see her under indictment for some of the crap she pulled in the Trump years, but also for misappropriation of funds in Arkansas.
And they're proving it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Absolutely. Now, there's somebody that asked a question about Louisiana. I think it was Voices from the Swamp. She said that Sherry from Voices from the Swamp, that they had a really, really, really low voter turnout. And because of that, Republicans won big time in Louisiana, and they're MAGA Republicans. So she was wondering what the implications it would have for the state of Louisiana. So,
this is some smaller thing where nobody came out to vote.
I think it was just for statewide elections or something. I don't know.
Louisiana's another red state.
But you know what? At some point, though, and she brought up a good point about voter apathy.
Yeah, Louisiana's sort of stuck where it's at. Louisiana, God bless her for working how, but I still see certain people, certain states stuck in red because, but look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin was a red state, but by God, they put in that liberal judge, and because the clinch here, which everybody's saying on the news, is women's rights.
Agreed. And what about Louisiana is Sherry makes a good point that because people didn't get out and vote. So if you want to change, just get out there and vote, because that lets your voices be heard.
Right. But did they threaten their lives or anything, or did they?
That I don't know. It was just low voter turnout. It was just incredibly low. I mean, Wisconsin also used to be one of the most progressive states in the union, but then I called him Governor Goodhair. I think what was his name? Scott Perry or something. When he became governor, he totally, if you will, turned that state red. But I see Wisconsin purple and going blue again at some point.
Okay.
So the southern states will remain red, yes. But Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going to be in big trouble, I'm telling you.
Oh, good.
If she used federal funds appropriated to the state and then lied about it, that's federal. And her daddy won't be able to save her.
No.
And people in Arkansas ultimately will get rid of her. That's what I see coming.
Well, they're the 49th in poverty, and the kids don't eat, and the schools are terrible. But, she thinks she could spend all that money on something with a friend. I can't remember what they bought, but it wasn't a podium. That was a lie.
She just thinks they think they're above the law, and
that's how Trump was.
Exactly. Well, she was Trump's press secretary. Remember how she had lied for him? And she called herself a woman of faith. I'm going like, ooh, if that's a person of faith, then that ain't the kind of faith I want.
Yeah.
Here, Dakota Celt ask, with the Israeli-Hamas conflict, will this make it more difficult for Ukraine to defeat Russia? I don't think so.
The Israeli Hamas what?
She says, with the Israeli-Hamas conflict, will this make it more difficult for Ukraine to defeat Russia?
No,
No, the answer is no.
no. Ukraine is making strides too, by the way. It's just not on the news as much.
They
But
are-
I will tell you, Palestine and Israel will be two separate states.
That's what I see. I've been saying that for years.
Peace will come.
That I see Israel as one state and Palestine as another.
Yeah.
And my feeling is it would work out okay.
Yeah. And I see Netanyahu exiting stage left.
I said Netanyahu gone. You know,
They want him out of there.
He's still not out of the woods yet.
He's not, but he's in danger too, because I don't know. I'm feeling like, he has to be looked after because people want him gone.
He's not out of the woods yet for the criminal stuff he pulled either.
I know. Well, that's why, remember, he didn't talk to the army because he was mad at them because they weren't going to jump when he said jump, when he was trying to change the Constitution. And so the army was very disappointed in him, and the United States got word that something was coming, and Egypt got word, and he ignored it.
Well, I just got back from Italy, and I can see the people in the army when Netanyahu was trying to pull his stuff going like that to him. That's why I'm laughing. I might go thinking Italian.
But it's gone now. Whatever they thought they were going to do, it's gone.
It's gone.
And he knows he's kind of refusing to step down. But let me tell you, he's going. My son said, well, maybe he'll be more beloved when he fights this war. No,
not at all.
They don't like him.
I don't think they want war either.
No.
The Israelis.
But it was terrible what Hamas did to their peoples.
It was horrible.
It was god awful.
It was awful.
And that kind of god awful, ugly. That's why we were so willing to jump on any truck and go fight for the United States with 9/11, because it was just so uncalled for.
It was a massacre of what happened in Gaza.
Well, even in Pearl Harbor, we got word from Japan that they were coming, and it was ignored.
Well, they knew, but they just didn't know when. So I think in a way they didn't want it, but I think in a way maybe they ignored it for a reason.
Well, I think Roosevelt really wanted to get in the war, but he couldn't at this rate. Once you kill Americans, he's in.
Correct. That's exactly what it was. Okay. So here's a question from Wendy E. Clark. She says, Bibi Netanyahu, I didn't know that was his first name, had an older brother, Jonathan, otherwise known as Yanni, who was the leader of the commando unit that made the raid on Entebbe to rescue the hostages in 1976. Yanni was the only commando to die in the raid. What does he think his brother is governing? I'm sure he's angry with the way his brother is governing. I feel like that he's very angry with his brother.
Yeah.
I was in Entebbe and I was in the airport there. That old airport is over to the side, but a lot has changed in Uganda since then. But I think his name is, I don't know if it's Yanni or Yanni, I think, however you pronounce it, the brother. His spirit is mad at Netanyahu, and his spirit is saying that Netanyahu is going to have to, I'm translating, but Netanyahu is going to have to face the music.
Yeah, he's going down, and I think people are telling him, you don't have long to go. You're going to have to step down.
Not at all. But
did you see the way he hugged Biden off the plane like a little boy?
Of course.
He laid into his arms like, oh.
Yeah, like, oh, help me out here.
And he's lucky to have the United States behind it on, helping like this. But listen to what Biden is saying. He's saying, don't do massive destructions in Gaza. Right now, we're trying to get, they released when Biden said, I'm going to send materials for Palestine. when he was on the plane, he says, yeah, we're going to send some. And then as soon as he said that, they released 2 Americans.
Well, you're right about one thing,
Only one thing?
you're right about a lot of things. I'm sorry. But when Biden went to talk to Netanyahu, Biden gave Netanyahu the what fors. You're right about that. I mean, Biden said, you're not going to do this, 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 or that. And I think Netanyahu hugged Biden because, he wanted to make it look good politically, but
Oh, yeah. But listen, Netanyahu would like to see the Palestinians wiped out.
of course. But, Biden's a lot smarter than Netanyahu.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure that Biden gave him the what fors. I'm sure that Biden went off on him like white on rice.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good one. Vicky Zoden says, when are Kay Ivey, she's the governor of Alabama, I think, and Steve Marsh are going to be gone from Alabama? Thank you. Hope your trip was awesome. It was a great trip. Thank you. I see her gone within 2 or 3 years, Kay Ivey.
When does she go up again for the thing?
I don't know.
Will Kay Ivey be voted back into Alabama? It's saying no.
No.
Maybe it's in 2 years.
I see the MAGA's gone from that government.
Yeah. Well, when Putin goes and then Trump starts, he's falling apart as it is. Slowly but surely, a lot of things will change.
Exactly. Okay.
Listen, I have clients who calling me, telling me the brother called and said, I'm done with him. A lot of people have neighbors that said, you won't believe this, Linda. They took down their Trump flag. Well, I don't care what they say about him having high numbers. He must have high numbers. They must be doing 1,000 people or something.
Because they see the turncoat he is.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, our guides had shown us that his numbers would come down, and they are. He's, I mean, and there was the revolution going on within the Republican Party. I mean, Jim Jordan, we knew he wouldn't be Speaker of the House.
Oh, that I could tell you. Now, I saw Scalise, which was true. Scalise came up, but then he said, I'm not kissing anybody's rear to get this job. I saw perhaps the guy that's sitting there now, McHenry, they might allow him to stay a little longer. But the one thing I always saw was Jordan wasn't going to get in. So do you have any clue? Like today they're voting.
Well, they're not going to vote Jordan, and I can tell you that right now.
But no, they already voted him out.
No, but he didn't.
121 people said no to Jordan in a closed secret session.
So what does that tell you? That tells you that they're tired of the MAGA BS.
But they're afraid of Trump still.
Some are, but I think a lot of them are growing a set, and
there's people that said my wife was threatened. She's sleeping with a gun. But they refuse to step down.
Yeah, because they're like, we're not gonna succumb to those kind of threats,
But what do you think? Everybody wants Jeffries, but I don't see the Republicans, and they would lose their career if they said, okay, Jeffries. That's as it is, the people who said no, we're not going to follow Trump, they may lose their careers, although a lot of them are in districts that Biden won.
Well, in 2024, the elections happen again. And my feeling is that Democrats will take back over the House. And then Hakeem Jeffries, or however you pronounce his name, will be Speaker.
That's when he'll be Speaker. And also, they're all talking about that, the numbers are real close for Senate like they did the last time. Remember, they were always saying that, and then we have thing, and it wasn't nothing. It was no blowout and all. Oh, the Republicans were all happy. Oh boy, when we take over, we're going to do this and that. No, you didn't take over, sucker.
The red wave, and it wasn't even a pink. It wasn't even a pink drip.
So I don't see the Senate going to the Republicans at all.
In the House, I see at some point Hakeem Jeffries being Speaker.
Yes.
Now, I think you're right. I think they'll keep this guy in there for a while.
You mean McHenry? Yes. The guy with the bow tie?
Right. But I see Jim Jordan under indictment. So he's going to be ousted. And I'll tell you who else they're going to get rid of is Matt Gaetz. Santos needs to go. And Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I don't know if Green will go. She's got a real solid place in Georgia.
You
She'd
know,
never win as a senator, but she could win as a congressperson.
it might not. It might
Matt Gaetz thinks he's going to run for governor of Florida.
not.
So I don't see him winning that.
I needed a good laugh. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she comes from a really red district, but I don't know.
I think she can still hold on. I know that's terrible, but she'll be out. There'll be so many people in there that aren't Trumpsters. Lauren Boebert is definitely a
Oh,
goner.
Bulbert's definitely gone, but maybe what I'm seeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene is rather than her, I mean, she might.
Maybe there's some legal things that come up
That's
with
exactly what I was going to say. There's legal issues, I feel. This guy,
where she doesn't go up for a vote because she's removed because she was a seditioner.
correct. That's exactly
Okay.
what I was trying to say. Well said. Okay, let me see. I got some more questions here. All righty. Oops, excuse me. Okay. Miriam Powell said, last winter was harsh in so many places. How will this winter be? Actually, I'm in Arizona, so another wet winter would be welcome, but there were so many places around the world where it was bad. I see a lot more snow in Chicago this year than we
You
have.
do?
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
We're going to have a lot of rain out here. It
And
rained like crazy yesterday. I mean, it was hard. My son said he had to pull over. He couldn't drive the road. He couldn't see.
well, you
The
all
only time that's ever happened to me was in Chicago.
well, thank God it wasn't a snowstorm, but I think you all are going to have a cold winter out by you in Santa Rosa. Arizona, I think, will be unseasonably chilly with a lot of rain.
Wow, that's good.
That's good. Some
They
flooding.
they have a little bit of a drought. And
Right.
they had those 100-degree days, over 100-degree.
But some huge snowstorms hitting the East Coast. I mean, huge, like New
Okay.
York, upstate New York, and things like that. A lot more hurricanes, but it's not going to be a nice winter. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, this is the good one. Deborah Godlewski says, Dearborn, Michigan has a large Middle Eastern population. Do you see any terror activity? You both are wonderful. Thank you. I don't. I mean, just because a place has a lot of a large Middle Eastern population, you can't take out on them
Right.
what's going on in the Middle East with Hamas.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago has a very large Middle Eastern population. And, I don't see any sleepers, terrorist cells.
I don't. I see like that poor woman that just was murdered.
Yes.
President of I do see stuff like that.
Right. Things like that, but I don't see any sleeper cells going on.
Okay.
All right. This is changing the subject a little bit. Mariah says, will plastic water bottles ever be banned for the environment, sea life, and shores?
But like the Crystal Geyser, they're making their water bottles that can disintegrate.
And what I see too is like a lot of times with other plastic water bottles. Remember years ago when you buy pop bottles and you take them back and you'd get they'd give you
a couple of cents. Yeah.
Exactly. So in the front of the grocery store, you see all these pop bottles lined up. That's what I think they'll do with water bottles, like put them in a recycling center or a machine or something. It'll give you a penny or whatever it's going to do.
Oh, they do have recycling, but they don't give you any money. Oh no, I think by bulk, but water bottles are lightweight.
Well, some places they charge you for recycling.
Yeah.
But I like the ones that will disintegrate that are biodegradable.
Yeah.
I do see technology coming that's going to stop a lot of what's going on because this
Right.
plastic bottles are killing the environment, especially the ocean. Okay. Here, Janet Planet, I like that name, says, my nephew thinks aliens are us from the future. Is this true? No, I don't.
No.
Nope, I don't think so.
Nope.
All right, let's see. Let me keep going here. Oh, this is a good one. Incorrado says, welcome back, Mel. Thank you. The DOJ has appealed the lower jail sentences for various insurrectionists. Will it be successful in its appeal to get the higher sentences?
What is it? What?
The DOJ has appealed the lower jail sentences. People got lower sentences.
Oh, yes.
For various insurrectionists. Will the DOJ be successful in its appeal to get higher sentences doled out?
No.
I mean, once somebody is sentenced, they're sentenced.
It's almost like you can't do that. I understand why they're doing it, but maybe they want to put those judges on warning.
But I think for future reference, the people that are insurrectionists, that they will end up getting higher, more jail time. Okay, let's see. Okay.
I have to go. Don't forget, at 11, I have a doctor's appointment.
You tell me when. We got a minute or two. Okay, let's see here. Will the college admission process change a lot in the decade? In other words, affirmative action coming back, etc. I hear yes to that.
I hear, yeah. I do hear yes.
Okay. Here's a good one. Deanne Pointer says, glad you returned home safely home, Mel. Thank you. In Ohio, issue 1 is the abortion bill, but the Republicans are calling it a parental rights bill. Go figure. So misleading. Will issue 1 pass in November? I see no. I don't think so.
And you know that Jordan didn't believe in any abortion for any reason.
Oh, I know. He's, oh, please. When I look at him, he's living proof there should have been. Oh. Did I just say that?
Yes, you did say.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help that. That just slid right off there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, welcome back. I'd like to hear your input about Israel from a European point of view, since you were just there, and how you both feel what the outcome will be. This is Michelle. Well, you know, in Italy, I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it.
Interesting.
You know, the Italians are, I mean, it didn't even come up, to be honest with you.
Italy's going to have a good sized earthquake, by the way.
I think so too.
I feel one coming up.
Right around Naples. But
the main thing is I see peace. It might not be till 26, 27, but I see 2 separate states.
Right. I do too. I've said that for years. So
yeah,
that plays out. Okay, Linda, you have to go.
I have to go. I got a doctor appointment.
Love you. Let me know what the doctor says.
I sure will, honey.
All right. Next Monday, are you going to be back by next Monday?
Yes.
Okay. So next Monday, I'm on your show.
Yep. Okay, sweetie. Talk to you later. Cheers. Right.